month that we're supposed to be celebrating Emancipation Proclamation, and a black child is killed. And it's time that it's stopped.
So what we're talking about here is making a police officer accountable for his actions.
That's right.
So a preservation of life standard becomes critical. And this relates to what kind of discipline would we give an officer? If you take a life, what should be the result of you taking a life, especially if it's an unjustified shooting?
Everything needs to be addressed to the city manager. The city manager is our chief accountability and executive officer of our city, according to our charter. And I think I told him last night that I really see this as a recovery effort. This is like a disaster has happened in our city, and that we're in recovery right now. And I see him as the manager of that recovery effort.
The question I'd like to throw out to the floor is, if you had the opportunity to talk to somebody, you know, that's in some of these power structures, what kind of question would you ask them?
I'd like to know exactly what the police monitor and the citizens overview panel exactly knew, because from all the research I've done, it's very unclear where they've stood and what they knew and when they knew what, and why nobody said anything regarding the police monitor.
Why can't civilian oversight be in a city ordinance in Austin, just like it is in almost every other city in America that has civilian oversight, so that the city council and the citizens can control what it says? Because in the police contract, only the city manager, who's trying to protect the city from lawsuits, and the police union are at the table. So those two parties tighten it up so we can't see any information.
Are there any psychiatric or psychological evaluation that cops go through? Is there any mandatory, after so long, that, you know, I guess so many months, they have to have a mandatory psychiatric evaluation? Because, I mean, one thing I kept hearing about is these cops are under a lot of stress, and I understand that. I understand they're under a lot of stress, but at the same time, I believe that they should have some psychiatric evaluations every so often.
I think where it's ingrained in an officer's consciousness that he will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law is with the DA's office. So my bottom line question is, where did the process of justice break down in that area, and how is it addressed in that area as well as APD?
I believe that any time these officers are involved in, I don't care if it's a shooting, a beating, a wreck, any of that, I feel like at that point they should automatically be drug tested.
So anytime use of force?
Anytime. Use of force. Because it's the same thing, just like if a city worker has a wreck in a vehicle, they automatically take him off that job, and they take him and they drug test him right then, and alcohol test him. So the police should be held on a higher standard than anyone else.
Back to the point about their reasons for not talking about they don't see any new evidence. The reason why they don't see any new evidence is because the detectives who initially were investigating this case, they were all biased. What about the ones that he was sending the text messages to?
Bingo. He said that. He admitted that too.
The chief fired one of the detectives. That ruins it all. Yeah. Whatever your findings are, it's tainted. We need new detective chief. We needed all of the evidence now known submitted to the district attorney to be submitted to a new grand jury and allow the people one way or the other to resolve this. Thank you.
The police union seems to be running the police department.
They do.
You know, and we know how the police union is, because anytime the police shoot or kill one of our young men, they give them an award.
That's right.
Or a promotion. So what is that telling you? We can't have that police union running this police department, because this is where the problem is.
Yeah.
So if we're asking the city for anything, it's to say that, you know, we want a citizens advisory board, and we want it to be made up of people from the community, especially those who have been affected most by police violence. We feel that the city has traditionally ignored these
the city manager and say, we must have a preservation of life standard for our community. Our police officers' first duty is peace. They are peace officers, not shoot officers.
Protect and serve.
Right?
I know when we go to them, they say they got the citizen review panel, they got the police monitor, but they has no power. Right? Even if they make recommendation, the chief does not honor it. The city review panel, the citizen review panel, they recommend 90-day suspension. The chief didn't even honor that. That's a minimum that they recommended. So when they come to us and they sending us to go here and go there, but they sending us to peoples and places that really has no power. So what we has to do, and like I said, I can feel the pressure on them. And when it is up to us to keep that pressure on them, and if we do that, changes will come.